Assalamu alaikum Mudassar bhai. It's an honor
Walaikum
having
salam.
you. And I know you're so busy and you've taken out time. It means a lot for us and our team. And how have you been?
I'm fine. Thank you so very much for having me.
No worries.
It's my pleasure to be here. You guys have absolutely amazing studio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Mudassar bhai, you're a huge influencer. You've changed so many people's life in the fitness industry. But first and foremost, I want to know how you started your journey.
So I'm a business student. I've done my MBA, and when I started my professional career as a trainer, there wasn't a concept of personal training in Pakistan at least. So when I started, I of course started with odd jobs and everything. I started as a call center agent,
Okay.
and then I left Pakistan for a couple of months, came back, worked as a receptionist for a while, and accidentally or luckily I met my mentor,
Okay.
right, who actually changed my life. His name is Amir Siddiqui. He's in
Okay.
Dubai right now,
Okay.
and I started training under him. So at that time, he was the only one with a gym or a personal training studio where people were actually getting actual personal training,
Okay.
right? So basically, that's how I started. I learned everything from him. I was training myself, but I had never taken a client before that.
Okay.
So he took me under his wings. He taught me everything. He was actually the one, because I'm talking about like good 13 years back.
Okay.
Right? 13 years back, there was absolutely zero concept of personal training. So even my family didn't even know. So if I would have gone up to my mother or my father or my family that, listen, I'm going to shift my career to personal training, they wouldn't have gotten the whole thing,
Okay.
right? So anyway, he was the one who actually forced me to leave my day job. I started training people, and now it's been 13 years.
It's been 13 years you've been in this field. So, Mudassar bhai, what people think is that personal training is very easy. It's maybe they don't actually know what it is. What do you want to tell the people? What is personal training? How difficult is personal training?
Proper personal training is very, very hard, right? It takes a lot of time to actually start training clients, especially whenever someone comes to us and that person, male or female, wants to become a personal trainer. We make sure that that person goes through a proper process. That's what happened with me when I came in, not on the first day, even though I was training myself, but I wasn't given a client on the first day by my mentor. So it took me like good 3, 4, 5 months before I started taking clients. And I was an educated person. I was into books. I was reading everything, but just the practical experience wasn't there. So same thing happens with whenever someone joins Kinetics as well. So what we do is we make them shadow one of our trainers who has been training for 3, 4, 5 years. And literally I have trainers training at Kinetics who actually took a year and a half, even though they knew how to bench press, they knew how to squat. But just taking clients is a totally different game.
Yes.
And I tell my trainers that you have to realize that a person is paying you and they're giving you a responsibility, that they're giving their bodies in your hands. So you have to be absolutely careful.
Yes.
So it's a long process. Again, depends on the person, depends on how much effort they want to put in. And we still like Shamir.
Yes.
When Shamir came in, we had like at least 6 to 8 other people coming in who wanted to become trainers. Out of those 6 to 8 people, we just selected one, right? And that was Shamir.
Yes.
Shamir is basically, a lot of people won't know, but your cousin.
Shamir
of
is
course.
my cousin, yes.
Right.
He works at Kinetics.
Yes. So that's the process.
Yeah.
It's a long process. It requires a lot of patience from people, and until and unless you're not ready to train a person, we don't let you.
Yeah.
Right? If it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, if you're willing to give that time and you're willing to learn, only then you'll get a client. Right? And again, I mean, you'll see that right now it's a trend. There are so many so-called trainers. Anyone who has a six-pack ab,
Yeah.
they'll go ahead and open a gym.
Or anyone who can deadlift some amount or bench press, they open a gym.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really dumb. I keep on telling people that you don't choose a physique, right? Choose a brain. I mean, a person who has a good physique, anyone with good genetics, if that person works well enough, works hard enough, will have a good physique. Does not mean that person has the brain to train another person as
Exactly,
well, right?
yes.
And that it's happening so frequently right now. Everywhere you go, there's a personal training studio or at least a gym where the person who has a very good physique will start taking clients and people will be willing to pay.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want. Even like if like a couple of weeks back, we advertised for a personal trainer. Like we had a vacancy for a new branch, and I wrote under it that don't send us your half naked pictures.
I saw that.
Yeah, so and we literally get at least 6 to 8 CVs where there are like 6 pictures in a PDF file format where guys are standing with like abs and everything.
Yeah.
And I make sure that we don't hire them. I don't want a person who's so obsessed with his own physique and who's not concentrating on a person who's paying him. So literally, people who have good physiques does not equate to good trainers as well.
Yes. Okay. So, Mudassar bhai, you say you started around 13 years ago. And this is not a good process, but this is not an easy process to make it better and get into personal training. Then you eventually started training at Meta Fitnesses under your mentor, Mr. Amir Siddiqui. So for how long did you work at Meta?
I think I worked there for good 7-8 years.
7-8
Yeah,
years.
good 7-8 years, if not more actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So before, when I started working there, Amir was there, and I think after a couple of years he left. He went to Dubai. He started his own business. It's called Symmetry Gym, one of very successful gyms in Dubai. So he went there. I was taking care of all the training bits, of course. He was still with me. I was learning a lot of things from him through Facebook, or I was just interacting with him on emails and everything. And every now and then he would call me, and I would go there. I would spend like 15 days or 20 days, whatever, and we'll just talk about these things. And I still do it. I mean, every now and then he would go ahead and either he would call me, or I would go ahead and send him a random text, and I would learn. And this is one of the things I really wanted to talk about is a mentor, right? So a mentor can literally change your life. And I keep on telling this to people. People come in and they would go ahead and ask me, oh, what kind of certification should I do? Well, I don't care. I would rather make you work under an experienced person. That experienced person who has gone through all the processes himself will make sure that you learn everything, and plus that person will make you a better human being. I remember when I met Amir, within first 6 to 8 months, he was like, listen, when I was 23 at that time, and he told me that when you reach 30, you better have your shit together. These were the exact words, right? And at 23, you, as a 23-year-old, you have a lot of ego and everything. Very first thing he did was, literally, first meeting, he didn't let me in the gym. He stood me outside. I was standing outside. He walked out, and I had a ponytail. People will think that, oh, this guy is going bald. I did had a ponytail at that time. So I had a ponytail, and he came up to me and he was like, I don't like anyone below 30. And I literally in my head, I was going, dude, you don't even know me. But that was his way of just checking that how quickly I would respond to the whole thing. But I didn't, right? And fortunately, I didn't. Anyway, he didn't let me in. He said like, okay, bye, go away. And I was
that
like...
must have crushed your ego.
Oh, absolutely. I was so... And in my head, I was the most good-looking guy. I had the best physique. I was really educated. All of that... Gone, right?
In a split second.
Yeah. Second time around, he called me in, and I was literally he let me in this time around, which was a huge deal for me. So I was inside the gym, and he came out after 10 or 15 minutes. He was like, what are you doing here? I was like, listen, you asked me to come. He said, no, I didn't. And I literally left again. That was the second meeting. Third time, and I was, in my head, I was like, no matter what he calls me again, I'll never come back. It's as simple as that. Third time he called me on a Sunday. And I was like, no one works on Sunday. What is wrong with this guy? I mean, who calls someone in for an interview on a Sunday? But I don't know how, and I was like, thank God I did. I actually went in, and he was there. He was actually working on on a Sunday. Anyway, he hired me, and the first thing he told me was, "Listen, you need me. I don't need you." And that had such a huge impact on me. I literally realized that of course I need this guy because he knows way more than I do. At least he knows way more about this field which I'm trying to pursue right now. So it's all about mentors, and it's been 13 years, and I'm like really thankful to everything he has done. I still talk to him like a friend. And it's just not the training part or the fitness part of the whole thing. Of course, he taught me everything I know. But it's just the general idea of life. He just made me a better person, and that's what a mentor can do for you.
Wow. And it's so effective. And it shows, you know, that the amount of experience you have, and now where you are at this stage, and if you wouldn't have followed any of those things, most probably you wouldn't have been here right now.
Absolutely, zero. One of the smartest things I did was that I realized that there are people who are way smarter than me, and they have done what I wanted to do, and I just followed it. It's as simple as that. I didn't complicate things. It was simple for me. He had done this thing. I just followed those processes. Literally, what we do at Kinetics is exactly what he had taught us. We never went, of course, we learned over time, but the business is run exactly the same way he wanted me to learn. I even remember when we started Kinetics, immediately after a month and a half, he called me in because his mentor, Scott basically lives in mountains, right? So it was a huge opportunity. Scott was visiting Dubai, so he called me in and he was like, "Oh, listen, this is like, you need to meet Scott." So I just immediately, I said, "Fine, I'll come to Dubai." I went to Dubai, and I remember he was driving the car. I was sitting right next to him, and it was a new business. We were really scared. No one had given us any chance at all. Everyone thought we were going to fail. There were people who were saying it pretty loudly that these guys will fail. These guys are absolutely... And plus, if you have spent all of your life as an employee, it's very, very hard to become an entrepreneur. It's very, very hard to start your own thing because your brain does not work that way. You're always thinking of the amount you were getting from a place, your employer, whatever he was paying you.
Income.
Yes. So you're basically, you don't take risks as an employee, right? So all of that was in my head. So I was literally sitting right next to him. He was driving, and I don't know how, but I think he realized that I was under a lot of stress. So he just said one thing. He said, "Never be scared of mentorless people."
Okay.
That was it. I mean, rest was history. When he said that to me, I was like, I have a mentor, man. I have someone I can trust. I have someone I can go back to and I can ask him stuff. Simply, I came back. I told my team, "Listen, never be scared of mentorless people. We have a mentor, man. We don't have to be scared of any of our competition or anyone." Literally, that happened. All of us, we just took that one sentence, we applied it, and rest was history.
Okay. Mudassar bhai, Kinetics is, such a huge platform for individuals who want to get into fitness, who want to transform themselves. And I personally, I love the ideology behind Kinetics, the science you guys use, how you study individuals and make their plans and their nutrition and their workouts accordingly. I want you to tell me more about Kinetics and what Kinetics is basically, and how Kinetics is differentiated from other gyms all over Pakistan.
So when we started Kinetics, we had a tagline, and it said the art and science of movement, right? So it was just not about the science bit. Science is very, very important. The art was the experience we had, right? So that was the concept of the whole thing. And Kinetics was a passion project. There were like 4 of us who had been doing it for 6-8 years, and we started. We wanted to do our own thing, our own way as well, right? And that's when we started. We are a personal training studio. We're not a commercial gym. A personal training studio, probably one of the only personal training studios who gives 100% money back guarantee, right? So we tell whoever joins us, and that's us putting ourselves at a spot as well, right? We're telling you, listen, if you're not satisfied after a month is a long time to judge us. We'll give your money back, right? So it's like us taking the risk. Of course, we're very expensive and people complain about it.
Yes.
But that's the business side of it. I don't know if we want to talk about that. But the concept was that we wanted to give customized programs and eating strategies. And that's what we did in the last 3 years. We have another branch right now.
Yes.
We're still working on it. And it's the same concept that's been happening for the past 3-4 years now.
Yes.
Right? So it's customized training programs, and probably we're the only gym who has a training philosophy as well. We have proper programming. Our training philosophy is very, very different. I can actually show you a program and I can explain why this exercise is in that particular order, why is that exercise even is in recommended in that particular program as well, right? So we receive all kinds of people. Someone wants to lose fat, someone wants to build muscle. So the programs are basically customized according to your goals, according to your injuries. So that's what we do, and our eating strategies are very customized as well. So we never take anything. A lot of people, you'll see that every 6 to 8 months there will be a new trend. We don't follow them.
Yeah.
I openly criticize keto. I openly criticize low carb diets. I openly talk against group classes, and a lot of people get really angry as well. I remember I was on one of these morning shows, and they asked me something, and I said something about 42 days challenge.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
It is.
And it is absolute bullshit. People, they're training 60, 70 people the same way. What about a person who has a shoulder injury? What about another person who has a back injury?
Yeah.
What do? You make them do the exact same thing?
Exactly.
That's stupid.
And
right?
it's only for 42 days?
Yes, another thing. And only for 40. Okay, fine. I did it for 42 days. What next? What will I do? Oh, you can go and sit on a flipping couch and get fat again,
Yeah.
so that they can come again another year, after a year, and they can rip you off again. Oh, I'll go ahead and start again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll look good for a month, then I'll look disgusting for 6 months, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
So people need to make smarter decisions.
Yes.
That is a business.
Yes.
That business does not care about you. The business wants to earn money from you, and then they'll be gone.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're happily giving them money, and you're doing jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And-
stupid.
And it's pointless too. You're completely right. Acha, Mudassar bhai, I want to know ke, you've been in the health and fitness industry in Pakistan. Where are these individuals running gyms going wrong? You just talked about ke, they're not customizing and it's an entire rip-off. How can the fitness industry in Pakistan change?
Passion. Simple. If you're a run, and I'm not against business or anything,
Yeah.
right? We are a business.
Yes.
First thing for us is to make enough money to survive and support ourselves,
Yes.
right? I'll be the first one to say that. That's why
Yes.
we're very, very expensive as well. We're expensive because we are providing things which no one else is. I see our closest competitor comparing bananas and coffee. Are you stupid? Like, seriously? And you're telling people that, oh, this is the benefit of coffee and this is, you can replace that with banana. Please go and read and then come back.
Yeah.
So where are they going wrong? Everyone wants to start very first thing. We have started a podcast. There will be 50 other people who will start the same
Yes.
thing. That's how it works,
Exactly.
right? So people saw that one of the gyms was making money. Another came in. Then it became a business.
Exactly.
I literally receive calls from people and they say, oh, listen, I want to open a gym. What should I do?
Yeah.
You shouldn't, right? Because you have never worked out yourself. You don't have the passion. The other business of yours is you're selling some cardi clothes or
Yeah.
something. And all of a sudden you want to do this because you want to make money. So when these people come into the field, they'll always hire people with lower quality and they'll come up with, you'll see these group classes and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
I mean, that's a very good example
Yes.
of what's happening right now in the industry.
Exactly.
So that's where they're going wrong. In short term, they're trying to make money. In long run, they're losing. You'll see that they disappear real fast as well.
And they don't produce any results. I've seen individuals in Kinetics. You have a client called Ali who lost, I think, how many kilos?
He has lost over 100 kgs.
Over 100 kgs. And I think I believe that's the first transformation in Pakistan, over 100 kgs.
Yeah.
And ye nahi ke dieting kar ke ya is tarah kuch, he actually worked out followed an entire regime, was given 100% concentration by the personal trainers. That's how he accomplished that. And boy, people know they don't understand that how important it is to have a good personal trainer. It can change your life, like you just exactly said.
Absolutely. Well, and Ali came from 42 days challenge, by the way.
Acha.
Yeah. So one way 42 days challenge feeds us a lot of clients as well. They whenever they're gone, a lot of people are like, oh, what should we do now? You should have thought about it before first thing, before paying them any money at all. But that's how he came to us as well. Once he came to us, we did something very interesting with him. Ali was eating around, I think, 800 or 1200 calories, and he was really big, and he wasn't losing any weight at all, or at least that's what he was. He was trying to lose weight, but because of the very low calories, he wasn't. So what we did was we made sure that he starts eating more.
Okay.
So initially for 4 to 5 months, we made him gain weight, right? And this is where a lot of people think that your personal trainer has to be very, very special, of course, right? But there are special trainees as well, and Ali is one of them.
Yes.
So I'll be the first one who'll admit that we always show the best part of what we do. I mean, that's what the marketing side is.
Exactly.
There are people who don't get results with us as well, right? But then there are people who get great results.
And that's because of those individuals, if they're not following it, obviously. I've heard that some people genetically, some people can't sweat. Some people can't gain weight. Some people can't lose weight. कोई कहता है कि मुझे बीमारी है कि मैं, I keep on eating and I keep on gaining weight. I'm ill. I have a disease. Does something like that exist or no?
I won't call it a disease. A lot of it is your genetics. People have to realize that a lot of it is your genetics, and plus the way you grow up as well. So if you're in a family where everyone is like, I'll give you my example. So when I met Amir, he actually made me gain a bit of weight, and I came from a family where all of us were out of shape. We never worked out. Like I worked out. I was the only one who was working out. So just because of the environment I grew up in, we always ate food and a lot of it, right? As a kid, of course, you don't realize it. I mean, as a kid, the last thing in your head is that you want to look good, right? The very first thing in your head is you need to have ice cream, or you have to have chocolate, or whatever there is. You want to eat food. It's as simple as that. So all of those things do influence, right? Plus genetics. Some people can do. We have Rahat. You know Rahat.
Yes, I know Rahat.
Rahat's diet is traditionally, if you ask someone, they'll be like, oh, his diet is horrible. Rahat sports a six-pack ab year round.
He's had it since, I think, more than a decade now.
More than a decade.
I know him,
And he'll have a Coke every single day. He'll have a burger every single day.
Life.
Yeah, what a life. He has fun. Now, if I start doing the exact same thing, I cannot get away with it. I don't have the genetics. I don't have the makeup to get away with all that food. So of course genetics play a huge role as well. Disease, obesity is a disease, right? So I would call it a disease. So yeah, I mean your genetics, the way you grew up, the environment you grew up in, all of that matters.
Yes. So Mudassar bhai, what is more important? Because what people believe is that nutrition comes first, then the workout comes after that. What do you have to say about this?
So we do the exact opposite of that.
Okay.
Right? And how can I explain it? So very first thing, there are two identical brothers. Let's say they're twins.
Okay.
You make one of them work out, and the other one cannot work out and can just diet.
Okay.
What do you think? Whose body will be better? Whose physique will be better?
The one who works out.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what's important? Your workouts. So everyone has gotten it wrong. Everyone thinks that it's about dieting, and honestly, it's the easiest thing they can do as well, right? For dieting, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is you basically go online and search some diet plan or something, and it's easy to start, right? And a lot of the time, people are scared to go to the gyms as well, right? They think that people will judge them or something. So for us, our philosophy, again, it's my mentor's philosophy, and it's an extension of his philosophy, is that you train as hard as possible, and the second thing is that you put some kind of restriction on yourself through dieting as well. Does not mean that dieting isn't important, right? Depending on your goal, depending on what kind of genetics you have, dieting is important.
Yes.
But there is an actual study which showed that if you only diet and you try to lose weight, 70% of the weight that's going to come off will be your muscle.
Yes.
Right? So you'll become what people call skinny fat.
Yes.
So why? That's not a good look anyway.
Yes.
So if you want to have that hard muscular physique, both for male and female, you have to absolutely train, and you have to go for resistance training.
And what's the importance of calorie counting? Because अभी इतने लोग हैं who are working out, and जब भी कोई calorie counting की हम बात करते हैं, वो कहते हैं यार छोड़ो, अंदाजे में पाम जितना अपने हाथ में चावल लेंगे डालेंगे, इतनी चिकन लेंगे डालेंगे, and people don't realize the importance of calorie counting, and that does make a huge difference in your diet and your physique.
Yes. What happens is the younger you are, the more you'll get away with food, right? So in your 20s, even as a male, till your 30s, you'll get away with everything. I mean, that's where a lot of people think that you shouldn't be counting your calories, and that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
We all have a natural mechanism built into us, which tells us when to eat and when not to eat.
Yes.
But someone who is overweight has already messed up that mechanism, right? For them to get that back, they have to be very, very careful with the food choices they make. So a person who needs to lose, let's say 40, 50 kgs, absolutely has to put some kind of restriction on themselves. Estimations, unfortunately, do not work. I remember a study where they actually asked nutritionists, people who actually, that's what their job is. They asked them to give an estimation of the food they ate, and they were all wrong by around 300 to 500 calories. So the people who are actually, this is their profession, they cannot estimate calories in certain foods. How can you do it?
Exactly.
So if a person needs to lose weight and they're overweight, they absolutely have to put some kind of restriction. That can be you measuring your food, that can be you measuring your food through your hand, or whatever works for you.
Yes.
But some kind of restriction should be there.
Yes. And आजकल keto has become such a huge thing that everyone who wants to lose weight, they start keto. And I have a few examples in my family कि उन्हें keto शुरू की, उनके महीने बाद तबीयत ख़राब होगी, and that तबीयत it led to problems in their liver and such issues coming, and then they restarted again because they see some कि थोड़ा बहुत उनका फ़र्क पड़ा है, and when they leave it, they're worse than they were when they started it. So what do you have to say for people कि यार keto क्यों, मतलब what's the point of keto? Is there any point?
So a lot of cardiologists actually coming out, and they're really against keto as well. Whenever you'll have high fat, keto is a high fat diet, it's really bad for your heart. And doctors are yelling at their patients that you shouldn't be, and I know even doctors who are actually recommending it as well. You should just run away from that doctor, by the way. I'm not a doctor, but I know, and I've read enough and I've experienced enough that keto is a very bad idea. So whenever you choose a diet, very first thing you need to know is the diet needs to be functional, right? What does that mean? That means that diet, you should be able to do that diet in long run. A diet is not a 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months strategy. It's a lifetime thing.
Yes.
Now apply this rule on keto. So in keto, you're telling people not to have enough carbs. If I tell you that you cannot have rice, roti, or whatever there is for the rest of your life, you'll say, no, I can do it for 3 months. I can do it for 6 months, but you'll give up. You'll be like, I cannot follow this diet. So what, again, same 42 days challenge, what will you do after that?
Nothing.
Right? So number 2, just the health risks associated. It's actually dangerous. And all these celebs, I see, even like I go to some restaurants, they're just, they've written keto menus
Keto
as
friendly,
well. So stupid.
लोग business कर रहे हैं इस पे.
Absolutely.
Individuals are selling and people are buying it, and it's so stupid. You're right. I completely agree with you.
And people need to understand the mechanism. What happens is whenever you take out carbs from your body will drop a lot of water weight, and they think that they have dropped weight. Actually, on the scale you'll drop weight, but as soon as you'll start eating carbs again, weight will come back. So what's the point of dropping weight temporarily and then just gaining all of that back?
इससे बेहतर water cut कर लो.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead and if you want to look good for like 2 days, go ahead and just do water cut or whatever.
Cook yourself.
Yeah.
And Mudassar bhai, bodybuilding and fitness are two different things, okay? And bodybuilding, obviously, in the long run, is not very beneficial for the body because we have so many examples like Ronnie Coleman. You know, I think the only individual जो अभी तक सही है bodybuilding में was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, he hasn't had such extreme issues. So what do you have to say if a person wants to become a professional bodybuilder? Should they get into it or should they just stick to fitness?
Well, as a profession, I mean, if you're really passionate about it, go ahead, kill yourself. And I don't care. But in Pakistan, I don't think that there's enough money in it as well. So anyway, regarding the training bit of the whole thing, I personally don't recommend people training in really low rep ranges. Right?
Okay.
That's what actually ruins your joints. Until and unless you are a power lifter or you're earning money through strength training in some form, there is no reason to do that, right? Knowing that how much you can bench for one rep is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Or you can bench 100 kgs. What? What difference will it make to anyone's life? You want to still do it, go ahead and do it. But there will be consequences to it.
Risks of injuries.
Risks of injuries. The heavier you'll go, later half of your life, you will have joint issues and everything. So you have to be smart. I'm not against bodybuilding training, right? There are certain individuals who need to do that as well. But all these kids trying to go for powerlifting and everything without having a career in it, it's not a great idea. Just doing it for your own self. I mean, I won't say it's not a good idea. If you want to go ahead and do it, just know that these are the disadvantages or these are the things that's going to happen to you, which will be, most probably you'll have joint issues and everything. Like you said Ronnie Coleman.
Exactly. His life is ruined now. He's on a wheelchair since the past 5 years.
Plus, someone who has achieved so much, I mean, to compete at that level, you have to sacrifice. I mean, if someone is doing that, there will be some kind of injuries or something, and I'm fine with that. I mean, if you love to do it, go ahead and do it. There will be injuries, there will be issues with your joints, just know that.
And no matter what, when you get into bodybuilding and powerlifting, steroid use becomes a part of your life.
I don't use it personally. If I was using it, I'll be the first one, I'll admit it. I mean, I am totally not against it. Right? Unfortunately, a lot of the information people get is incorrect about steroids, and not only in Pakistan, internationally as well. I am not recommending steroids, right? I don't use it, so I don't recommend it. But if someone wants to use them and they're using under supervision of someone who knows about it, it's their choice. So I have no negative thing attached to this.
But when, for example, if an individual wants to, use steroids, is there a specific age? For example, I'm at the age of 20 and 30. I believe that right now is not a good time. If I want to use it, I should use it when I'm crossing 40 maybe. So what do you have to say about that? Is that a right
Again,
logic?
it's a personal choice, right? And I'm not an expert on drugs as well. So I won't comment on a thing where these are not my expertise, not my field as well. Until unless I haven't done it myself, I won't know as well how it works or whatever happens, right? Personal choice. After 18, your call. You want to shoot yourself on the foot, you shouldn't, it will hurt. But if you want to, go ahead, right? So that's what it is. So if someone wants to use it, their call. It's not legal, you shouldn't be using it, whatever.
So, the thing about diets are that usually when people want to lose weight, वो कहते हैं कि हम carbs कम लेंगे, protein ज़्यादा लेंगे. What do you have to say about that?
So, we recommend higher carb diet. Again, I'll give
when you want to lose weight.
When you want to lose weight, right? At the end of the day, the most important bit is your total calories, right? So if, let's say you're maintaining your weight at 3000 calories and you want to lose weight, you just create 500 calories deficit, eat 2500 calories, you'll start dropping weight, right? If you want, I can explain how you calculate your calories as well. It's a very simple formula. At least I can give a very simple formula.
Go ahead.
People can go online and they can go ahead and search the formula, which will be a little complicated. They have to put their age and everything. Simply take your weight in pounds and multiply it with 10 to 12.
Okay.
So the older you are, the less calories you can consume. So you need to multiply your weight with 10,
Okay.
right? Weight in pounds, not
Yes.
kgs, very important. If you're an older person, someone who's in their 40s, 50s, they have to multiply it with 10.
Yes.
A younger person needs to multiply it with 12.
Well, okay.
We did the same thing with Shamir. We started him, actually we were talking about it yesterday. We started him at 40% carbs, 40% protein and 20% fat. So as he progressed during his fat loss journey, we call it biofeedback. What is biofeedback? We see how the person is feeling. Is he putting enough effort into his workout? Is he sleeping well enough? Is he mentally too stressed? We saw that because he was so active, our jobs require us to be very, very active. We're
Yes.
on our feet all the time. And plus his workout was an hour and a half long as well. So he was working out really hard as well. Once we saw that he was struggling with the workout and everything, we changed the macronutrients. We made him eat more carbs. So
Okay.
carbs basically provide you energy.
Yes.
So a part of our philosophy, which is again an extension of my mentor's philosophy, is that you want to feed your workout, right? Because workout is the primary stressor which will make you get a good physique, right? So you do not want to starve yourself.
Yes.
If you'll starve yourself, you won't be able to put enough effort into your workout. Once you're not putting enough effort into your workout, you lose muscle. It will take longer for you to get a good physique, etc., etc. So we increased his carbs. So primarily, our philosophy is to have a very normal diet. Carbs we decide on the activity level of a person,
Okay.
but you need to have everything.
Yes.
One important aspect of anyone's diet should be that they can eat whatever they want,
Okay.
right? Restrictions will be there, but we're not taking out any food groups.
Yes.
We're not asking you not to eat rice, not to eat roti, or not to eat ice cream. There will be times when
Yes.
we'll ask you to go ahead and eat everything.
Yes. Okay. And the last thing I want to talk about is, what advice would you give to individuals who want to get into fitness? The age limit, okay? Because many people say that 13, 14 is it's pretty young for an individual to get into fitness. What should they do? What should they follow, and how should they go along with it if they choose to go to the gym and work out to look good, or maybe to have a healthy lifestyle?
So my philosophy is totally different than that. So I want kids to start working out as soon as possible.
Okay.
Right. One option is that they play sports, right? And one option is that they start working out, right? Or they can do both of them together as well. The younger they are, the better it is. And I tell my clients as well, listen, your kids are sitting too much. Your kids are playing PlayStation too much.
Yes.
Your kids have too much stress of their studies. They're very, very inactive. And we have examples. If people want to go, they can check out on our Facebook, where kids came in and they couldn't squat. I mean, squatting is the most basic thing you can do. You're just sitting down and
Yeah.
standing up. And I'm talking about 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds who cannot sit, who do not know how to sit properly and stand up. So our movement is gone from our
Yes.
life. So the younger they start, the better it is.
Yes.
Start them with a coach. Reason being that person will be able to fix their movements.
Yes.
Especially in today's world, everyone talks about food, that we have food on our fingertips. You can go ahead and order it. But we don't even move as well. We are always sitting. So we have not only have food, too much food available to us, we have taken out the movement out of our lives as well. So the younger the kids start, the better it is. But people need to remember is that they need to get proper training
Yes.
as well. A younger kid does not have to bench 200 kgs or stuff like that. So
Yes.
a proper program will help them more than anything else.
Yes. Mudassar bhai, it's been an honor having you on the show, and hopefully, again, you're such an informative and such an inspirational person with so much knowledge about this field, and hopefully we'll have you again as well.
Thank you so very much,
and
man.
we'll
Sure,
focus on
anytime.
more things as well, which are developing and whatnot. But it was an honor, and thank you so
very
much. And ring the bell one last time. Boom.